Good to see all of you this morning. Just to wake you up a bit, I'll speak a bit of French. So if you have some translation devices with you, please. Donc, ça me fait plaisir de vous voir ce matin.
So I'm delighted to see all of you. Welcome to Halifax and welcome to Canada.
On sait déjà que notre monde connaît des
Now, our world is facing a number of crises, food, climate change, economic insecurity, and other complex issues. And of course, people have been displaced, and many people have been affected by violence. We are seeing increasing changes in the global dynamic, and people are looking to restructure the international rules-based order, which leads to insecurity. So for our part, we want to ensure that our institutions are able to respond to that threat.
The term CRINC. It's a bit cringe. It does provide an important framework to look at how China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea interact. On their own, each represents a challenge to our security and our values. While they do not represent a coherent bloc, they are increasingly working together, as we know, to reorder aspects of the international system to their own interests. This entente, bringing them working together, enables each state to pose a considerably more potent threat than it would alone. Russia's ability to wage war against Ukraine continues to be possible only through material support from China, as we know, ballistic missiles and drones from Iran, and now actual soldiers, boots on the ground from the DPRK in Russia and in Kursk. Such collaboration enables these states to create more chaos, as we know, and which then they will use against the U.S. and the West more broadly. And amid chaos, China is expanding its network of surveillance and foreign interference both through people and technology. Russia's disinformation campaigns continuously seek to undermine our democracies and institutions. We know that. Iran pours countless resources into its terror network of proxies to do all it can to prevent any type of peace agreement in the Middle East. And North Korea has an army of hackers disrupting businesses and continues to develop weapons to sow fear and instability in the North Pacific and now in Europe. So from Canada's perspective, the world has gotten a lot closer, which is why we're so engaged with our partners. To our east, we're working to strengthen NATO and even grow the alliance. And we were the first to ratify Sweden and Finland's accession to the alliance. To the north, I am finalizing a new Arctic foreign policy, so North America is ready for and protected from the new threats to the region from China and Russia. Threats made easier for them due to melting Arctic ice caps and a push on their parts to build more icebreakers. We want to, of course, keep the Arctic Council working, but we also know that since Russia is part of the Arctic Council, we need to work the Arctic 7, so basically US, Canada, and the Nordic 5 together to share more intelligence and be able to interoperate also on the security front. And on North America's West Coast, which is, of course, also the Canadian West Coast, we're working closely with Japan and the Republic of Korea to bring the same approach to our collective security in the Indo-Pacific. And that's why we want to work even more with the US, with South Korea, and with Japan on this North Pacific 4 pact that we have in mind. Donc, les pays du monde entier sont confrontés.
So countries around the world are confronted with a choice. We can go back to the darker periods of our history where we saw such conflict, or we can defend human rights. and defend opportunity for all, a world where people solve their problems by working together. Not even the United States, no country can fight effectively alone against this threat to the international rules-based order. So countries must work closely together to meet this challenge.
We must remain clear-eyed about the actions of these nations and work shoulder to shoulder with our allies and partners to expose and call out malicious efforts to destabilize the rules-based international order. At the same time, we need to continue efforts to deepen our own security cooperation and resilience, including through NATO, the G7, the Five Eyes, and the NORAD Integrated Command. And I'm convinced that a lot of people here will have a lot of good things to say about that. And so, of course, during this important year for us, which is coming, which will be our upcoming G7 presidency, we look forward to working closer through all these different security alliances and making sure that the West is strong. Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup.